Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, and we are back talking about Avengers versus the X-Men, and another issue of the New Avengers written by Bendis, but a totally different topic. We're not going to be concerning ourselves with Spider-Woman, Luke Cage, or Hawkeye. Instead, we're going to be dealing with the Illuminati, the group of super incredibly smart people who joined forces to direct the world. Until Captain America
cause Planet Hulk,
and until Captain America found out about it and busted it up or something. Some bad shit happened.
No, yeah. I think it's that. I haven't read the original miniseries a long time, but I think it's just that Planet Hulk happened.
Oh, okay.
They're like, hey, we shouldn't have Hulks on the planet. Let's throw them into space.
Hey, sounds like a good plan to
me. It results in a very funny comic. So Professor X wasn't around during that time when they sent, he was part of the Illuminati, but he wasn't around for the decision to send Hulk into space.
Mm-hmm.
So the World War Hulk crossover event, the X-Men miniseries, which is just the Hulk fighting 3 teams of X-Men, is kind of great.
Okay.
Is him trying to get to Xavier just to say, if you had been there, how would little bald man vote? and Xavier being like, well, I wouldn't have voted to send you into space. And that's basically it.
I mean, he would have totally voted
really
to send the Hulk to space, though. Like, we all know that.
Who wouldn't? He's dangerous as hell.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty fun comic because it's like all the X-Men. It's like a small group of X-Men, then a slightly bigger group, and then all of them.
That's right.
And it's just a big fun fight.
That is really funny. That's all I know about the Illuminati. And we're going to get into this issue of New Avengers number 29. The cover is just basically like, hey, here's Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, Professor Xavier, and Captain America on a comic book cover. Real basic stuff.
Yep. Vibing.
Yep.
The idea here, so we start off here. It always takes the first page of my comics to a second to load.
Okay.
It drives me nuts. But we're starting off with a flashback.
Yes.
To the Invaders, which is Captain America's weird, like just absolutely random team that was him, Bucky, Namor, and 2 Human Torches.
Yes.
The Human Torch and Toro, his little buddy.
It's wild to me
that won World War II for us in the Marvel Universe.
It's wild to me that they just called themselves the Invaders. Seems a little on the nose.
Yeah, what's Namor doing there? Like Namor, god level power. Bucky,
guy
takes pictures.
Guy from New York.
Yep. Silly ass team.
And we're going to see them fighting, the Red Skull. And basically, this is all just to show us that Namor and Captain America are not just friends, we're brothers. Because they have all punched the same kind of person before together. So that gives you that bonding experience that you need. You know that, right? Like, if me and you punch the same guy, we're brothers. Like, we're not Eskimo brothers because we haven't had sex with the same chick, but I don't know what punching the same guy is.
Well, if we punch the same person, we're Irish brothers.
Sure.
The
okay, call it Irish brothers.
Captain America's feeling nostalgic about this. As Iron Man walks in, they've set up the context here is he set up a meeting of the Illuminati. He did the Illuminati signal or however they get everyone together.
Mm-hmm. Ironically, it's just a picture of a bat in the sky. So
yeah, this is safe in this universe. What are you gonna get, Batroc? Like, the idea is he wants Namor to get here and talk to him man to man.
Yeah,
here, and we get this issue that's just dialogue. It's just the different Illuminati members showing up in turn and chatting, but it's good, because they're chatting about interest. They don't seem like idiots.
Yes.
Basically.
And there's some, I think Bendis is really good at this kind of stuff. Conference room writing, where you just have some people sitting around and they're talking. Like, Captain America is a little bit like, you guys never should have built this in the first place. And he's like, you just did this. You just called a secret meeting to decide the fate of the world. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? And the running thread through this is like, nobody but Captain America believes that Namor is going to show up. And so as they're having that conversation, him and Iron Man, Doctor Strange shows up and says, yeah, that's not going to happen. He will not come here, but I will hang here for a
Yeah.
little while to see if that does happen.
Yeah, worth a try, but it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At this point, Xavier walks in, and says he might. Iron Man is like, "Hey Xavier, what'd you do to those kids?" They go to your school and they all go nuts. Again, cannot stress enough that they have not gone nuts at this point.
Not at all. Not at all. You guys tried to kidnap like my children. Like it's essentially Xavier's point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't say that here because he's rapidly trying to distance himself from Scott Summers, but he's
this is a notes app.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically, being like, my relationship with Scott Summers has been exaggerated. I just hired the man.
I just hired him.
After that was it.
We took all reporting of any serious crimes very seriously.
Yeah,
but
Activision Xavier.
It's very funny because Tony's like, it's a joke, and Xavier's like, no, it's not. Like, I can read your mind, and he's like, you shouldn't do that. And he's like, I shouldn't, but I am, and all of you believe that this is my fault. Like, and I just really like that like casualness of Xavier being like, you guys may even be right, but no, like the dude's a grown ass man. Like he's making his own decisions. I have tried to talk to him.
Yeah, this is good. This is good stuff in general. And they're like, why don't you use your brain and shut him down? And it's like, why don't you use your infinity gems, you dick?
Exactly.
Like, I'm way here for angry Xavier.
Yeah.
They're basically saying we don't do, we're not going to use the infinity gems. Reed Richards comes in and is like, yeah, we're definitely not doing that. I like this little bit where he's like Dr. Richards, Dr. Strange, and Tony being like, you guys love to call yourself doctor. I have 3 doctorates and you don't. And then be like Dr. Stark. Like, I like Reed Richards in this a lot.
Yeah, I do too. This era of Reed Richards too, if this is the Hickman era, like Fantastic Four that I would
solve everything era.
Yeah, is really fun.
Yeah.
Reed Richards says they're not going to, use the Infinity Gems. They're not going to use one uncontrollable cosmic force to fight another one. And Captain America's like, nobody's even saying that. Like, nobody said it out loud. And Xavier again is like, you guys are all thinking it. I can hear it in your brain.
So Reed sits down, starts fiddling with a doodad quite rudely. The horrible little bit here where he's like, I'm surprised he decided to join us in the first place. Captain America's like, he can surprise you. And Tony Stark says, so can a burrito. I need Bendis to stop trying to make jokes because he's real bad at it.
Yep.
And he's like, I had that burrito last night. It's surprising me now. It's a little like diarrhea, mucho beef grande Dorito, burrito humor here in our comic.
It's
from Tony Stark. It's more like Elon Musk than anything he's ever done in the comics.
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
Soaking a burrito is just like a horrible Elon Musk tweet.
But Bendis writing jokes too, because he writes jokes in a way that like anybody, like they sound like they could come from any single person as long as that person was under the age of 18. Like there's no character to them, and I feel like a large part of humor is the person making the joke kind of inflecting it with their own flavor, if you will. And it just does not come off that way. They're just like these pure like sanitized, like every man, quote unquote, like it's just a fart app of jokes. Is the way I feel Bendis writes sometimes, and that's not all of his writing or anything. It just really comes across in stuff like this. Just sticks out. Tony picks up on Xavier saying like, "Oh, you talked to Scott. Like, what did he say?" And he's like, "I'm not making fun. Like, what did he say? Did he give you anything we can work with?" And Xavier goes kind of on this lengthy routine of saying like, my only goal was to get the entire world to see mutants as equals. And Scott was my first student. And like now he seems to be going against everything that we have taught him. And then and they seem to be abusing one another. And just, he can't even finish it. He's just so upset about this. Like he breaks down. It looks like he breaks down in tears.
Yeah. He's very upset, yelling at everybody. I might have to kill my son. At this point, you're all blaming me. I want him to remember what I taught him. And then I like this. He storms out, and he's like, and I get this room full of you with all of your demons blaming me. And it's one of those good points, for all of the horrible thing this group has done, including, Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
With this very crew, but none of these people are innocent. you're one Hank Pym away from Ultron, but it's not like Tony hasn't done some pretty fucked up shit.
Exactly.
The arms dealer, things like that.
And then after Xavier leaves, Reed Richards says, I understand him. Like, if this is one of my family, this would be tearing me apart. And Steve questioned him. He's like, where are you on this? And Reed Richards has, unsurprisingly, like a nuanced take of like, at what cost? Like, at all of this stuff. Like, I'm still playing catch up. This isn't Galactus. This isn't an alien invasion. They are allies and they are fixing things. Like,
Yep.
At this point, they haven't done anything until we keep poking them with a stick, and maybe they'll lose control, but they haven't yet, and that's tomorrow's problem. And of course, Steve hates this, but Reed Richards is like, yeah, look, I'm still researching this stuff, but like, crime is down. Like, did you guys notice?
Yeah.
Like,
you should understand this. Like, he's like, oh, they're going to lose control. And he's like, listen, it already happened. Like, they are already doing the thing. The good is already happening. Are you upset that they're doing this, that they might lose control, or that they're making a world with no place for you in it?
Yeah.
I wish this crossover explored that more.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a classic, do superheroes change the world by punching or by fixing things story. And the idea of Captain America and Iron Man as these dinosaurs who can't let go of the punching is really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think Scott said something about that to this effect, but they don't really reckon with it. And Reed at this point says, and listen, like, if they do make the world a better place, that's because of you, Tony. Like, you split the Phoenix Force. That might be like the accident that created penicillin. That might be better than anything you've ever done on purpose. Like, if things get better, take some pride in that. And he's leaving. As he's leaving, they're like, are you ready for things to just be this quick and this unnatural? And he's like, I don't know what natural means. Like, I really like all the Reed Richards stuff in this.
Me too. Yeah.
That's a fake word, basically.
Yeah.
But I am ready for humanity to take the next step. And he takes a step out. The Iron Man's like, did you catch where he said this was all my fault? I didn't get that. From this, he said that like you maybe made it so that Phoenix would be split and they could do all this good.
Mm-hmm. But it also means that if they do go bad, that it is ultimately Tony's fault. Like, I could see Tony absolutely interpreting it that way as opposed to the other way, regardless of the way that Reed actually meant it. And knowing Reed, he probably meant to say the thing out loud and then say the quiet thing underneath. So,
yeah. Doctor Strange, having done nothing during the entire issue, leaves. Iron Man's about to leave. He's trying to get Captain America to come with him because Namor's coming, and Captain America goes, hey, the same way Reed has numbers, I've got numbers. We can't win. This is our only hope, is to talk to one of them because we're not going to fight them down. He refuses to leave. So Iron Man takes off.
Yep.
There. And after he leaves, Namor shows up.
Because of course he does.
Of course. It'd be really anticlimactic if he didn't.
And, Namor was hanging out. He, basically heard this entire thing, but he wanted to ensure that it wasn't a trap. And Captain America's like, I wouldn't do that to you. And Namor's like, yeah, but you're definitely here to try to get me to put a shirt on, and that's way worse in my opinion. And I don't appreciate it. I'm nipples out. I have the Phoenix Force, and I am nipples out 24/7, 365.
I've got to appear in Paradise Killer too. You can't. I had to get used to never having my torso shorn. He basically does exactly what you think he would say. Like, you're an Avenger and you're my brother and a soldier. You have to help us. And he's like, before I was all those things, I was a mutant and a king. We're making things better. You keep resisting this. And if you're resisting this, what have you even been fighting for? All these years, like, this is the thing. Again, I've given you your dream. And he says, I've been fighting against people who put themselves before others. Not what's happening. Again, central conflict of this fucking thing. Who think of themselves as a superior race. Like, that is true. And he's like, it looks like I'm still doing it.
just to get back to that same argument and to not make you say it again, because I know you feel maybe a little shy about constantly repeating it.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. When, like, show me the time other than maybe Colossus in that issue of Wolverine and X-Men number 14 where they have done this, where like they have given the Avengers any reason for concern. Like when, like they already had Utopia, like, so they made Utopia better. Maybe that's like they built a cool house, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
and Captain America can't have that.
Yeah,
everyone needs to live in a single family,
Brooklyn
single
walk-up
unit dwelling. Like, Brooklyn brownstone or a shotgun shack.
I mean,
from World War II.
But it's not like they've built a throne for themselves. It's not like they've asked people to worship them. It's not like they have created a slave race of workers to build machines that they're going to use to subjugate other planets. And like Reed Richards says, like maybe the worst is yet to come, but we haven't seen any of that. And it's just really frustrating for Captain America of all people to be like, well, it could happen. It could happen.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, you didn't do it. Like, this same thing, the exact same thing happened to you in the 40s, and you didn't go bad. Like,
yeah. I think maybe we were supposed to a point that was, I think, supposed to be a turning point. There's two things. One, I think that we're supposed to be so enamored with like Avengers loyalty. That we're just like, oh, he's locking up Avengers. That's a bridge too far automatically. The second thing is, I think it was supposed to be a really shocking thing when they're like, hey, no more war. Like, you guys don't get to fight wars. I think we're supposed to think that's bad because that's when the Avengers were like, whoa, this is super fucking serious. Mm-hmm. And maybe we're just too 2021 pilled where we're like, that's awesome, actually.
Yeah. No, that's actually
the benevolent
really
God
great.
Kings want to stop us from shooting each other. That's great because fewer people die.
Yeah. If you guys want to say like, no more AKs, like I'm down with that. Like let's go down the alphabetical list. No more AKs, no more Avengers, no more war. Like
it would take the Phoenix Force to get gun control in this country.
God, Jesus Christ, seriously.
So the basically they continue to kind of talk. Nothing really happens here.
No.
He's like, you should have had a trap ready. It's good. I never do that. That's why I'm not taking you in. And then he's nostalgic. Who knew there would be one day we'd be fond of those days of that horrible war.
And the other notable thing here, and I think this is probably specifically here to shut up really obnoxious nerds on the internet. Namor says, I know that you feel this way, that we're brothers, and that's why I came alone, and that's why I haven't betrayed the trust of this group. Because I'm sure like the nerds on the internet are like, well, he's in the Illuminati. He should tell Scott about the Illuminati or whatever. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's really it. Like Namor leaves, and Captain America is just there. This is. I get real frustrated, and this is just me being spoiled by having decades of comic books available to me in like really easily digestible trade paperback format. And a lot of times these messy crossover events are just not that because of publications and things like that, publication dates and all this stuff. But like going from this Namor to immediately in our next issue that we're going to cover for the podcast, AVX8, him attacking Wakanda and killing millions of people, presumably, like is a real turn for me. And I know they set it up in the previous AVX and all of that stuff, but like it's tough for me to get a handle on some of these characters when like they're just treated so differently book to book to book, and it's really hard for there to be a through line of appreciation or character growth or anything when it's like here, Captain America, you're my brother, I trust you, but you're on the wrong side. And then like 5 minutes later, like, is he on his way to Wakanda right now? Like, did he stop off? You know what I'm saying? Like, did he just make out with Emma Frost and be like, oh, so it's the Wakanda, okay, and then like stop here and be like, what up, and then go immediately to Wakanda to flood the place?
I would hear more about the old times and World War II, but I got an appointment.
Yeah.
You got an appointment too. You got to be there as well.
Yeah, you need to show up before me, really.
And, go fight.
And you're not a Phoenix.
Do you want to take the same car? Or should I follow you?
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's because the event's too big. Is really what it is. Mm-hmm. Like this has like it's 5 architects or whatever and 5 writers for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the edit and editorial, the other person I put to blame for that.
Do you think if Captain America had the Phoenix Force, his little ear helmet wings would be on fire?
Yeah,
I'm fascinated with the wings
and his 2 wing balls.
Yeah. He's got a lot of wings. I didn't realize he has so many wings on his costume because I don't read a lot of Captain America comic books, so it's mostly MCU stuff, and they did away with a lot of the wings. So
yeah. The best wings for him was the '90s Captain America movie, where instead of making a little headpiece that had holes for his ears, it just had rubber ears on the outside.
Oh, perfect. Great.
It's very funny. Like,
I had forgotten that movie
that's a horrible movie.
existed, dude. Man, it's bad.
Yeah. It's surprising to me that there haven't been more think pieces about the weird 90s and late 80s Marvel stuff. Like that Captain America, the Nick Fury movie with David Hasselhoff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some.
The Punisher movie, the Dolph Lundgren Punisher.
I was just about to say that because I remember watching that Punisher movie and going like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
They were real weird.
This is very bizarre. Man.
There's that movie Doc Morbid, which is just they had the rights to Doctor Strange until the very end, and they just did a rewrite.
Sure, why not?
So it's a Doctor Strange movie, but they just changed the name basically.
Man, do you remember the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movies? Like,
fucking
dude. Crazy.
He pisses his name, right?
Yeah, I bet he does in the fire piss. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Doesn't the flaming motorcycle? No, there's a flaming horse. There's like an 1800s Ghost Rider that comes out on a horse that's on fire. In that movie.
No. Fucking bizarre.
Fucking wild. If you want to pay for me and Gary to have a flaming horse, you should go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Donate some money every month to support us, the network, a wide variety of podcasts, both serious and comedic, that will give you hours and hours and hours of entertainment. You should also rate and review the podcast, tell your friends, but more importantly, come back every time we release an episode, download it 3 times, and listen to it 4 times. We're going to be back in a couple of days with Avengers versus X-Men.